This is verse 32 of the 20th chapter of the Gospel of Matthew. Jesus is heading for Jerusalem through Jericho, and two blind men have discovered that Jesus is passing by and cried out that Jesus would literally mercy them. And though the crowd tried to silence them, it only provoked more intense appeals to Jesus, and we have Jesus now stopping to give them his attention. So we have kai, the connective stos, is from histemi, means I stand. This is an aorist active participle, so having stood refers to Jesus in the masculine singular nominative as the subject of the sentence. So ho Jesus, Jesus, having stood, comes to a complete stop, which of course signals to the blind men, though they can't see it, they'll know it from the reaction of the crowd, that Jesus has now come to a standstill and is willing to entertain their request. Ephonesen, from phoneo, to speak or to call. Third person singular, aorist active indicative, so he called autus, direct object, them. The masculine, plural accusative, he called them kai apen, and said. Third person singular, aorist active indicative, te, interrogative pronoun, what. Theleta, second person plural of thelo, I ask or I want. So what do you want? Poieso, from poieo, I make or I do. This is in the subjunctive in this case. What do you wish that I should do? Humen, for you, is the indirect object in the dative of the second person pronoun, the dative plural. What do you want me to do for you? Of course, Jesus knew what they wanted, and probably the crowd surmised it as well, but there's some great value in making the request. They make the request publicly. It's good for their faith. It's good for the faith of the observers, and of course it's good for us. Even though, as Jesus tells us, he knows what we need before we ever ask, it's nevertheless good for us in order to build our faith to come and make the request. And the blind men here who are in view have stood for a good example of that principle.